Hi all, welcome back to more of the other side of the hill. So I think this is part 17. Just came straight back there. Got a bit muddled up in that last part, the end of that last part with my movement. Hopefully I adjusted things properly and didn't make too much of a mess. Just thinking back, only one unit was allowed to move in there. Yeah, we couldn't do that, could we? Well, hang on. I deployed a reduced army in there. There was a satellite army in there. And I've moved the satellite army into there. However, I moved this into there as well. I don't think I could have done that, could I? Well, it said one from each. I want to say one from each front. Yeah, in a single operations phase, a maximum of one army per front can be moved to or from an area with a naval supply marker. Yeah, I couldn't have done that. Could I? So, the army that I moved out of there, I couldn't have moved an army out and an army in, and I also moved a satellite army in. So I've broke it too many ways. So the only movement would be to this front would have been this from here to here. That's the only movement that would have been allowed. This has to switch back with this because that's what was there. So I sort of want to feel like I've still got 2 strategic movement points left, haven't I? You know what? I'm just going to leave it at that, I think. Because I couldn't have done that switch. No, hang on. This is an operational movement limitation, Grant. And that's why I said I could do this, right? I've actually remembered, well, it's because days go by, isn't it? I think I talked about this yesterday. So I could have done that, couldn't I? I can only have one German army. So the other 2 have got to be satellites. I've moved the satellite army in. However, the only operational movement was moving a satellite army in. Strategic movement does not restrict. It does not restrict that. And I'm pretty sure I read through it and just the restrictions about limitations about the satellite armies moving. Yeah, so I actually think I could have done that because this was a strategic movement point into here, and this was a strategic movement point from there to there, and this also came from there first, strategically moved into there. So yeah, no, I think you're okay. I think you're okay with that, Grant. Right, well, we'll go back and hope for the best. Right, command. That's where we're at. Sorry, that's where we're starting this part. We are in 1941, the spring operations phase, and we're in the command phase. So, do we have any? Well, no question general still yet. Is there any areas that need vacancies? We've got 2 armies in there. Got a general in there. 2 armies in there, got a general. 2 armies in there, got a general. And remember, I'm just looking German armies. 3 armies in there, got a general. 3 armies in there, that was a vacancy. I caught that one, so I'll put that marked in, and that is that, I believe. So we do need to fill this vacancy. So how does that one work again? No dismissals. One of the highest seniority generals and available. or an activate or in command general with seniority higher than the highest. One of the highest seniority generals unavailable, or an activate or in command general with a seniority equal to or higher. Yeah, I thought it was equal to or higher. Right. So available, we have sixes only. We have sixes that as the highest, which is quite interesting because, I'll tell you why, because we've got the activated general on top there as a 7. So that kind of means we could bring that guy back. I mean, whether he's any good coming back or not, I don't know. Yeah, that of course, that's one of the guys we just used for the sake of using. He's not any good unless you're against the Soviet front and you're defending in rough. So he's a 7. These two are 6s though. These have been activated already. We've used them in combat. So maybe worth considering one of these two. Guderian's good, yeah. For an extra advance. Where are we putting this in the Middle East? Yeah, I mean, I don't know if we're getting the chance to go for Egypt or not. There's no other card that allows me to do that, so I wonder if I should have been recycling that card, the Egypt one. You know, I might have to ask about that. Well, that could be important to find out about now, Grant, before you start all this. The other one is against the Western faction, defending and cancel 1. Yeah, he would be pretty good in there as well. I suppose I should look at the ones that we've not used yet, though, because there is a lot of them. Oh my, there's a lot. There's a very lot of them. 6s. Stop. I've not put these back in the right order, so we do have 7s. Sorry, my bad. I thought that seemed a bit off. I've put Rommel and Kleist above. I need to watch that. I've also not put them back. Try to keep them in order so that I can see. So, in actual fact, I wouldn't be able to consider Guderian or this other guy. I would be able to consider him, which is unlikely because he doesn't do anything for us. So I'm better picking between one of these 7s, and it is the highest. This is the one that doesn't go lower. So I've only got a choice of 3 guys actually. So it's a bit more simpler. But I might need to find out about that card. So we've got a choice. Well, I might as well look at them, I suppose. He's only useful against the Soviet, defending in any territory. These two, however, are he was a 7. Yeah, okay. These two can be used against either faction when attacking into rough. And 1 hit to the axis combat roll. If there is at least 1 regular panzer army in the combat area, cancel additional allied die for rough terrain. Okay. Thing is, we're probably just going to be defending in here, aren't we? Which sort of puts a dampener on things. Right, well, this is where you should consider your in-command generals, shouldn't you? Let's see if we get somebody here that can defend better. So, let us look at that. Well, Kesselring's this OB Sud. Again, I mean, his ability only works in there, so I'm just leaving him in there. So we need a 7 or higher, so they're all 7 or higher. Recognize for attacking, Strauss is for attacking, Von Lieb's for attacking, Runested's attack. They're all for attacking. Great. So none of these are going to help either. I suppose I need to know about if we can attack Egypt. Well, I put the card down the bottom. I decided... no, I didn't. I discarded it. And it was Invasion of the Middle East. So maybe I need to go and ask a question about this. Because if I was able to play that again, that allows me to put a combat pawn in area 28 and attack Egypt. But then the objective's Damascus, Grant. So you surely can't use this again. No, that doesn't make sense, Grant. That's why you've discarded it. So I clearly cannot do that then. Why can I not attack Egypt then? I don't know. Right, I forgot about this though. Offensive in Libya or Egypt. Oh, so this isn't our hand. We would need to be doing this next year. After the objectives check, return this card to the military directed card deck, even if it's successful. And because the area you can put a pawn in 27 or 28. So here or Libya. Well, Libya we're still thinking about it, but Egypt. But does that help us at all? The objective is any Allied controlled sector adjacent to an Axis controlled disk. Any Allied. Am I allowed to do that? I'm confused here. But I call that pawn in Egypt. Now we're attacking from Damascus. And so we kind of go from number 2 there into El Alamein, don't we? So any Allied controlled sector adjacent to an Axis controlled disk. Yeah, so that would mean we make an attack from Damascus. Well, we don't move that one out, do we? And then if we were successful, we would knock them out of El Alamein into Cairo, and we'd take El Alamein. This would become disputed. That's a success. Then what we'd have to do is do that card again. And do it again so that we're not then back to there. Well, actually, that first attack we could advance a second one, couldn't we? And then play the card again, knock them out of Suez, then we've got control. So that's a way of getting Egypt, I think. Okay. Yeah, another thing I was thinking, this is for 1942, but this is conquest of Iran and Iraq, areas 15 or 16. So we can either put combat pawn in 16, which is Middle East, or 15. Axis controls Egypt, Turkey, or Caucasus. Okay, and the objective is to take Baghdad. That we're not getting that until next year anyway. I think that's all the one. You get this local offensive thing. That's 1943, which is any area. And yeah, the objective is to do the same thing. Just put so you can go in anywhere at all. So I think that's okay. Right. Well, I suppose we could be attacking at some point from the Middle East, but right now I'd prefer to find a general that's defensive in there, but I don't seem to have any that can help me. So I'm not sure. So I'm kind of stuck between maybe bringing one of these guys back, but then if the end of the year's going to happen, these are going to get put back anyway. I mean, he's not any good, but these two are pretty good. Oh, hang on, I can't do him. It's only him I could do. Sorry, my bad. Yeah, and none of the guys that were in command were helpful. But so I'm just getting on a tizzy now. Right, so I'm going to pick between one of these. These two were available. So either these are both attacking into rough, which is what El Alamein is. And I know it's not going to help me defending here, but I can't find a general to do it. So this one's cancelled additional die roll for rough terrain, but this one's a +1 hit. He's probably better, isn't he? So I'm going to put him in. Maximilian von Wykes. I don't know. Let's put him in command. So I need to find his counter actually. Right, here he is. Right, hopefully this... Is that focusing in there? No, it's not, is it? I was having issues with that. Let me see. That is now, so it's maybe that I need. If I take that away, it focuses there. Yeah, it's focusing in there. I don't know, maybe I was doing something wrong then. Right, okay. I thought I had to change that, and then when I changed it didn't work. Right, anyway, he's in here in the Middle East then. So let's just put him in. I'm going to say I'd prefer to have somebody defensive, but I'm not allowed to. There's nobody I can pick. Unless I'm missing something. So he goes, and then, he goes back in the availables. Right. I think that was only one for appointments. Yeah, let's just push on with this. I might have to cut things. I still got maybe 20 minutes. I can maybe still get this part squeezed in. So, Axis offensive. I do feel like I'm rushing on a bit now though, and that's just asking for mistakes to occur. So Axis offensive, place combat pawns. Right, so we're going for Isabella, the invasion of Spain. So this goes in area 24. We control southern France as a prerequisite, which we do. This is going in here. And we've activated Spain. Done all that. It's Allied controlled and adjacent to an Axis controlled area. Yeah. So, going to resolve combat. We're going to draw a combat card. Now, there's definitely going to be a combat because it's us that are doing it. I'm going to get the cards up. Hang on. Right, so we're attacking from this area, remember, into this area. So this is the stacking limit of 3. So we're only going to be able to use 3 of these armies, 3 of these 4 armies. Clearly, we're going to use the 2 Panzer armies and the regular army. We're going to leave behind the other one. We've got Strauss as our AG head with no OB for the Western Front yet. So draw a combat card first, anyway. Yeah, so they're on the defense. This is 1941. Western faction. 2 dice. Yeah, so they're going to get 2 dice. I'll put the card down there. So we knew there was going to be an attack anyway. So 2 dice, no special effects. So there's no OB. Activate the head AG. Right, so it's Strauss. So let's see what he's going to do for us. Hopefully something. Adolf Strauss. Yeah, attacking into any terrain. The controlling player may reroll 1 die in the Axis combat roll and the new result must be applied. Good. Okay, so we'll take that. Still keeping in mind we've got that Abwehr card if we needed it. So that's our AG head. So that's good. So we're rolling 2 black and a grey dice. And we're getting to re-roll 1 of them. That's pretty good by itself. We're attacking in... we're attacking into rough. Okay, so they're going to get an extra dice for that. So it looks like they're getting 3 dice. We're going to get 3 nobody's getting a bonus dice for the air naval. Is that 3 on the western side? So 3 against 3 with me having 1 reroll and my dice. Bear in mind we've got 2 guaranteed hits. So if we happen to miss with the grey dice, reroll that again for 3 hits. I'm feeling confident we get 3 hits, but he's going to get this extra dice for the rough. So he's still got a chance of getting 3 hits. So we'd maybe like you do have the upwear still if it all went wrong, and you might not need the reroll from the general, but we still need to find a leading general, which must be highest or second highest and available. Right, so it's a 7 or a 6. Right, let's go out a few, so let me have a look. Right, well I've got 2 nice choices, I think. So we've got list, I think we just looked at recently, so attacking into rough, which it is. If there is at least 1 regular panzer army in the combat area, cancel the additional allied die for rough terrain. That says in the combat area. I wish it wasn't worded like that. It kind of makes me feel like we have to be in this area. I mean, right away, reading that, I kind of thought, well, we've got panzer armies and a regular army that we're going to use, but they're in this area. They're not in. I mean, they're. Surely that still applies. Anyway, that would cancel the additional allied die for rough terrain, which I'd feel far more confident about. But yeah, just got my. Oh, this guy guarantees it for us, is it not? Yeah. Again, he's just really strong though. Well, why not just use him and be done with it though? This is probably the last offensive I'm going to have for a bit, so why not just use him? I don't know, what are you going to do in the summer then, Grant? You still got Barbarossa in your hand. I don't think I'm ready. Oh, and you get, I forgot, you got 2 operations phases, don't you? Right, I'm not sure. I'm going to leave this question here for anyway. We're at almost 23 minutes, aren't we? 23. Yeah, no, this is a fresh recording, yeah. So 23-minute mark. Can I use him when I'm attacking from an adjacent area? Does his ability still trigger? It says, if there is at least 1 regular panzer army in the combat area, cancel additional allied die for rough terrain. We're attacking from there into this area. So we're attacking into the area. I kind of feel like it's meant to still apply, but maybe somebody wants to confirm that one for me. But I'm not going to use him then. I'm going to use Von Kleist, I think. Am I? Yeah, because it is attacking into rough. I'm looking across at the Soviet side of things, and apart from Leningrad, which is in deeper anyway, the other areas, well, that's not. Oh, I've got the Baltic states as well, haven't I? Oh no, I've not got control of that. I've got a control disk. I don't occupy it. Alright, okay, I'm just going to use this guy, I think, and guarantee this. It feels overkill, this, though, that's the thing. Oh, right, anyway, get on with it, Grant. Right, he's my leading general. Von Kleist. Right, they can go back there, and... Right, we've got our generals. So we're going to have the allied combat roll. That's our generals. So they're going to roll 2 dice. So let's do that first. 3 dice because of the rough terrain. Yeah. Let me check. Does it not show allied combat roll? +1 if defending rough terrain. Adjacent says no. No, there's no adjacencies. So they're getting the 3 dice. Right. Here we go. Oh, jings. Right. Well, we've not seen an event for a while. Mind you, I don't know if I've done much combat in for a bit. That's probably not the result we wanted. I'd rather have seen 3 hits there. Okay, so, well, that's what it is anyway, Grant. We can't do anything with their dice anyway, so that's fine. So now we're going to roll. Again, I forgot about the paratroopers. However, so I'm right. Hang on, coming back here. I'm rolling 2 black and a grey. Remember, I can only use 3 of these armies, because of the stacking limit and here. So 2 black and a grey. And then I can reroll one of these, but I get to add +1 hit to the Axis combat roll for every black die that is rolled. So at the moment I'm sitting at 2 hits, basically. You know what I'll do? I'll just take 2 grey dice, showing 2 hits already. And we roll these. So it's another 3 hits. And I can reroll, but I don't think I want to. Mind you, we can only have 2 events anyway, and they've got 2 combat events, so yeah, I don't really need anything else. So I put, that's the results. I've added the 2 grey hits there for Von Kleist that gives +1 hit to each black die that was rolled. So our total is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hits. They've got none. So, but we resolve, first we resolve, don't we resolve the events first? Yeah, sorry, we do. Well, there's going to be an air hit as well. Air naval control value in the combat's front is 1 hit. I'm not sure in the order in which you do that. Yeah, event resolution, then implementation of combat results. I mean, I think that's still a combat result, isn't it? So we've got 2 combat events to resolve. So let's look at them first. So first combat event is Britain invades Syria. Right, if Italy is neutral, we're going to discard this. Italy is not neutral. So roll 1 grey Axis die. If the result is a hit, apply 1 advance in Libya or Egypt. Eh? So 1 advance in Libya or Egypt. 1 advance for us. Britain invades Syria. Well, let's roll the grey die first. It needs to be a hit. And then if it is a hit, I think I'm going to have to look this up, find out. I think I'd probably quite like to know either way anyway. Right, okay, let's roll. I'm not sure if we're wanting this to be a hit or not. So we'll roll first. No, it's not. It's a tank result. I mean, if that had been a hit, there's Libya's here and then Egypt's here, obviously. It sort of feels to me like it must be an advance for the British. Britain invades Syria. I don't know, it doesn't really make it clear. Roll 1 grey die. If the result is a hit, I mean it's a German die you're rolling. Apply 1 advance in Libya or Egypt. Well, we can't advance in Egypt. Nothing in Egypt. I mean, I don't think I'd be able to advance. No, surely not. But if that was the case, I would have advanced into Tobruk right there, which would have been awesome. We're going to have a quick look. Right, I suppose it was a bit daft on thinking of that. It's not just the fact that it's a grey die that we're rolling, but it talks about advance, and there's no rules for the Western, the Allies don't advance. It's only the Germans that the rules, the rules are there for advance regarding. So this would have been us. There was a couple of threads there about it. There's a lot more to see through this game. Some guy had asked if this event got drawn while they were attacking Tobruk, would they then advance into Egypt? And I think that was yes, they would. That was a bad result. That would have been great for us there. Although this is Italian, so this would have been a satellite rather than an occupied marker. And I think we're still restricted to having one German army in there. But however, I think I'm still wondering about that card that I've got rid of. But then the card that's still back there about the one that you can attack in Egypt, isn't it? Is that the local offence? No, it's not local offence. What was that again? Oh, the one that I didn't take anyway. Okay, so, well, that didn't work, which was a shame. So, nothing happens there. And that just gets discarded. Doesn't get brought back around. So that was one of our 2 combat events. So we could take that away. So we've got another one to come though. So here we go. Right, Commonwealth. What's that? Reticence. Right, roll 1 grey axis die. If the result is a hit, place the no Western offensive marker in the next operations phase. Oh, that's a good one. Well, we failed to get the hit the last time though, so right, here we go. And we don't get it this time as well. Damn it. How many hits is on the grey dice? 3? 50-50 chance then. Right, okay. So that would have been nice. There would have been no attacks with the Western faction, however. Didn't work. So 2 good events, 2 good combat events, well, but needed a dice roll for them to be good. So that takes care of that. Right, then we take an air naval subtraction on the front involved, which is the Western front. So that goes down to 2. And then basically that's it. And then they've no hits and we've got 5. So we are going to win this. Axis greater than allied. Advance. The next sector is plains or river and does not contain a landing marker. May take 1 reduction to advance again. So we are going to advance. That one stays in Mercy, remember. So we advance. Well, that's the initial combat into Barcelona. And then we've got to take armies with us. We've got to leave an army behind. Am I taking all 3 in? Actually, maybe not. Thing is, we're going to have to leave an army behind in there as well. Well, I want to take a reduction on a Panzer army, get a Panzer army back in the first pool so I can hopefully get that other production card started. Yeah, I don't think I'm taking both of them then. Are we going to get Grief in there? We're not going to... yeah, you're going to get attacked from North Africa. Yeah, so we do want to take all 3 of these, I think. So we take all 3 of these in. We have to take at least 1. And we take our AG head with us. We had to leave an army behind, well, for 2 reasons. It's a partisan and we can only take 3 into there. And then we're going to advance again because this is a plains area and there's no landing marker. So knocking him back to Valencia, we move it to Madrid, and that costs us a reduction, so that goes back in the force pool, and oops, this regular RMA takes its place. This becomes disputed for now. And yeah, I think that's it. Yeah, that's it. So we can take this away. I might be having to just stop there, I think. What are we at? Because we're going to go into Western offensives next as well. Well, it's really been nice if I'd got that thing, I would have just skipped on by that bit, wouldn't it? Yeah, but I'm just starting to wonder about what I'm going to do in the summer of this year. Because, you've got your... It's not as if I can go and select some different military directives, No, because you get them, you just get them once a year, don't you? Yeah, okay. What am I going back? What am I trying to find here? The Western offensive, yeah. Okay, that's that done. The combat's over, so this combat card goes away. It's discarded. Our AG head was Strauss, was he? Yeah, Strauss, so he goes back and in command. And this guy, which is really good, has been activated now. So that's that. We don't need to use the Abwehr card again. Right, that's the Axis offensive segment finished. Western offensive. Right, I'm at 36 minutes there though, so I'll just pause it there, and I won't be back till tomorrow there west to try and finish this off. But I do need to think where I'm going. 2 operations phases in the summer. Yeah, it means we're going to be doing a whole lot of defending over the 2 periods, because I don't think the only thing I can do is go for Yugoslavia. That's the only card that I've got left, isn't it? Yeah, I think that's why you were meant to be doing starting Barbarossa, Grant. Well, I could see how it plays out. We'll just mess about, moving things about, defending a bit. Might be a bit silly, but what do you do? Right, okay, I'll leave it for now, and I'll be back to finish this part off sometime soon. Okay, cheers. Hi all. Right, back to finish this part 17. I was just double checking where I was at, so I'm about 37 minutes in. And I left things with this wonder about what we're going to do in the summer of 1941. We're just going to mess about, and I don't know what my thinking was here. I suppose again, playing the game for the first time, and I started thinking when I was away at work this morning, thinking, well, we'll just go for it and we'll just start the Barbarossa, but I think I took an army away. We're about to go into summer, you go administrative, so we can put replacements out, we can move armies about. Well, we've got the Western offensive, that's where we're sitting at. I see that now. I suppose I was just thinking about what I'm going to do next. How many pawns do you get to place? 3, right, okay. So Barbarossa, you place 3 pawns in areas 1 to 11. And the other thing I was concerned about is if I don't do a military objective in the summer, although I suppose we could do the Yugoslavia one, but if I don't do one at all in the summer, I think my fanaticism drops by 1, if I recall. Right, the areas that I've got a control disc in here, but I don't control the Baltic states. Is that one of the areas we can attack though? Yeah, I've got no armies in there though, Grant. That's area 5. So yeah, it's areas 1 to 11. So my guess is you should make the most of the fact. Well, I'm going to have to get something in there then. 2 armies at least, and then it takes 4 armies that. So we actually need 4 armies in there, 5 armies in there, 4 armies in there, and 4 armies in there. I can't see that happening. Not when we've went and took this down here, and I think you might have to really just stick by your guns and just hold off and see what happens. I mean, there's not been any movement on this track for the Soviets to start the war themselves, you know, to reach border troop movement and then war. I mean, my guess is that there are going to be events that are going to come up, and possibly, like I said, I'm not sure. Like I say, I haven't played the game before, but a lot of these events are blue and they've got to happen, and it might be the case that this happens maybe in the end of the year phase. So it might be that we go into the next year with them at war. You know, them started the war rather than the Axis went in. I don't know. Let's finish this turn, Grant, because there's nothing you can really do about it just now, and see what happens, and then see if there is a way we can. I mean, I suppose I don't need to have 4, 5, 4, and 4, but ideally you would think. I mean, all I've got is 2 armies in here, satellite army in there, satellite army in there, and that's it. You know. It's going to be a rather weak force, even with the fact I can move things a bit. Yeah, I don't know. Okay, I don't think I had anything to speak about. Oh, I suppose one thing that was, I made a comment. I left 2 comments on the last part, which is 16, which I don't think I've uploaded yet. I've uploaded 14 and 15 today. I got a chance to watch some of that back. 16, but I left a couple of comments. What were they? What was the first one? Oh, yeah, it was just... No, hang on. No, that wasn't for 16. That was 13 or something. It was... Sorry, 14 or 15. I left a comment about Grant being silly about this situation. I think, you know, when this was in here and we had to put... yeah, I'm not going to go back over it. It was just a bit of a daft moment. The other thing was Kesselring. Yeah, where is he? And I left a comment in the header about this as well. And I sort of blundered my way through it in part 14, but and then 15, I realised I was defending in rough. It was the defence in here, defending in rough. But the card actually says it, because I was like, oh, I'm not going to get a white die here, because they knocked a Southern Front air naval control marker down to 4, and I was like, oh, I'm not getting a white die. Well, but if I'd read the card more carefully, and is that zooming in okay? Is that focusing okay? I've noticed a few, watching back on a few bits, it's not focusing. I think I checked it yesterday and it was better. I guess what I must have been doing is maybe the focus is on that, and no, it changes in there alright, doesn't it? I don't know what was going on there. Seems to be okay now anyway. If his marker is in the OB sud box, roll 1 additional grey die instead of 1 on 1 white. And try to rush this. Instead of 1 white die for rough terrain. So you get the white die for the rough terrain, because it can only be used for defending. So you're always going to be defending in rough terrain. So you're always going to get an additional white die, and that turns it into a grey die. I mean, I sort of realised that. Well, I didn't really match up the card in the situation, but it was when I was watching it back, then I realised that that's why it's written that way in the card, because you're going to have to be defending in rough to benefit from it. So you're always going to get that white die. Right, enough of that. There might have been a couple other comments. Martin left another comment regarding that movement situation, because Carlos had responded, trying to explain. But I don't think he really answered. Well, I don't think he grasped maybe quite what Martin was saying. And to be honest, Martin is making a fair point. Quickly, to give you the gist of it, that if you've moved the front with operational movement and you go to move another front, then this unit and this other front can actually move and then move again. Whereas if you've moved the southern front already, you can't do it the other way about. So I can't, that's what Martin was trying to explain to me. I didn't quite grasp it. By me moving a unit from here to here, and then finishing the Southern Front movement, then moving it with the Western Front, I can move it from here to here, and then move this other unit into here, but then he's got to stop, because we can't come back and activate the Southern Front again. So he's got a fair point there. I mean, it might make some sense. Maybe Carlos has got an answer for why that should be, but it does sound a bit odd. I mean, strategy-wise, you can think about it yourself. You know, do I want to activate the Southern Front first to move units further afield, or do I want to activate the Western? So you've got to think about it that way. But does that make thematic sense? Maybe, I don't know. We'll see. He might come back with something with that. But I think Mark he's got a fair point about it. But it seems to be allowed in the rules, and the designer's saying it's allowed. Whether he can give a better reason to why it's like that or not, we shall see. Okay, Western Offensive. Right, so yes indeed, Western Offensive phase of 1941 spring. There's still no landings, no landing markers. We're going to get one next year, obviously. So none of that happening. Right, combat pawns. Skip segment if Western Offensive and Operations box, and that's what we were rolling on, weren't we? We never got it, and that would have went in that box and stopped any Western Offensive from happening here, which would have been rather nice. Yeah, we got. I'm just looking back on a lot of the die rolls, and obviously quite a few events early on in the war are beneficial for us, but they're still die rolls, and we've not been getting the luck with them. I think I want to say I've missed 3 good opportunities. What was it? One was that, the Western Offensive. The other one was to actually take Libya, wasn't it? Wasn't it to advance? And that would do taking Libya. And then I can't remember what the other one was. There was another one I seen that the die roll went pear-shaped as well. But anyway, right, Western Offensives. So, disputed marker Western control disc. Right there. And this, yeah, there's going to be an attack there because this is before the military directive thing, you know. So disputed marker Western controlled disc there. That's the only 2 that are disputed. However, we then look at Axis controlled and adjacent to Western controlled. So I think there's going to be quite a few here. So we've got Axis controlled, adjacent to Western controlled, Axis controlled, adjacent to Western controlled. There's a little foreign object there. That's something that. Oh, what's that? Oh, that's part of the map actually. I think I'm scraping away there. Better not do that. We'll just leave that a little bit. Right, so Axis controlled, adjacent to Western controlled. These are all Axis controlled, but not adjacent to Western. I think. Oh no, we've got one more. We've just got one more pawn. But remember, it's not exclusive to the amount of pawns you've got. So we could have more. There's 5 out there now, but we could have more if there. In fact, there is more. No, can't be. No, why are you getting this one? Sorry, I'm thinking Northern France. That's not the case. No, and Belgium, Holland's not. No, because Great Britain can only come and land. They're not adjacent. Spain is disputed. Yeah, I think that's them all. Yeah, all these in here are fine. Even Romania, Bulgaria. Yeah, okay, so there is actually only 4, right? Now, we've got one combat in the Western Front, and the others are in the Southern Front. Now, the Southern Front, air naval control is up at the 5. But remember, we might get aircraft results that are going to roll on this first and then reduce that before we get to roll our dice. But, so I think we should probably target the most important one here and hope that we maybe get that extra white dice. Well, I say the most important one. I don't know. Well, I felt like Turkey was the most important, but Turkey's probably the strongestly defended right now, isn't it? And it's in rough, This one's in plains. Ooh, this is in rough as well. That's nice then. That's nice. Well, shall we take Libya first then? I'm really hoping that I didn't make any blunders with the movement and the replacements going into Libya. I mean, I almost had another German army in here. I just spotted that and had to rewind a bit. I remember that, and then of course I'm always seem to be forgetting about trying to move. I want to feel like they've got to be adjacent to move, which, to be honest, I can't move anything from adjacent in this area here. But it doesn't need to be adjacent when you're doing movement. It just needs to be in the same front, and you need to have a control disk in the area, and it needs to be not isolated, which was the case. So I think everyone's okay there. And that's the other one. Only one can move with operational movement into here because it's got a naval supply marker. And the reason we were able to bring the other one was through strategic movement, I believe. Again, hopefully I've got it right. I haven't watched all that bit back yet, but I've got the chance to play for half an hour or so here, so let's just move on with that. Right, I'm going to go for this one first then. So, it says you determine the order of combats. So I'm going to try this one first. Right, so we first reveal a combat card. So for Libya, this is them attacking in 1941. Oh, and we get just a strategic event. So no combat there. Don't know if that's good or bad, to be honest. So that card goes away and we get a strategic event, but these are going to start doing things. Yeah, here we go. So, right, hang on. This is a new symbol. This is the one about the... What's the... I can't remember. We'll work out just now. Well, let's just read the whole card just in case this doesn't apply. Well, it looks like it does. Flip the strategic warfare replacements marker to its Donetsk side. Barents Sea battle. Flip the strategic replacements marker to its Donetsk side. That can't be good, is it? What does that mean? We don't have a side that says that. Right, I've no idea what that's all about. That was at 2, wasn't it? Yeah, it got knocked back. Let me just look at the other counters then, unless maybe that was written and then they decided to put in a different counter in. It's prestige markers. No offensive. Oh, there's the Soviet no offensive marker, which I was saying probably should be up in this box as well. Mind you, that at the moment it's just Western. Right. Well, that scuppered me. I don't know what that means. It's not a Barents Sea battle. Right, I'll need to find out what's happening here. Right, it was just a bit of sit down at the computer and look it up, and I've just realised that's me trying to rush, I think. Yeah, I'm sure you all know. I mean, again, if I just read it properly and thought about it, it's the replacements marker, and it says there. So flip that to its Donetsk side. So that was a 2. Oh, this could be a good. Oh, it is. So that's unrestricting it from 2. Excellent. So, well, we're still at 1. Okay. Right, and these two symbols, well, we know the American flag is moving this up, so it's moving up to Atlantic Charter. And the other one is, it's about the generals, isn't it? I can't remember I'll find out the reference to it in a sec. Well, I better look it up, hang on. Right, so the icon is Misfortune. There it is on there, C section 7.3. This is on page 31. 7.3 is over the page, I think. Yeah. So misfortune, if the misfortune recurring event is triggered, roll 1 grey die, treat any result other than a hit, which is the cross on the grey die, as no result. On a result of hit, select an eligible general to be affected by the event. All generals with a misfortune section on their cards are eligible on the year indicated in the card and all later years. If there are no eligible generals in play, ignore the misfortune event. If there is only one eligible general, select him. If there's more than one eligible general, select one at random. Remove the selected general's marker and card from play. If the marker was an A, G head or OB head box in the map, replace it with a vacancy marker. So when it says in play, all generals with a misfortune section on their cards are eligible on the year indicated in the card and in all later years. Are eligible in the year indicated in the card. Oh, right. So it's a misfortune event on 1941 and anything later. So anything less earlier than 1941 is not going to be affected. And is it any of the generals I've got in play? Right, let's look. The guys that I've got in command, right, I'm not going to show them on camera until right, that's one. But he's 1939. Oh no, hold on. It says 1941. Poor health. I think that's what the date means. That's when it said, what did it say? All generals with a misfortune section on their cards are eligible on the year indicated in the card in all later years. So it's all, yeah, it's this. So he is eligible. He's in command. I'll never go. That was poor health, but it doesn't matter what it says. They're getting removed from play. That's heart attack. So that's 2. Oh dear. Right, that's 2 out of the guys I've got in command. Right. I mean, generals in play to me are definitely the ones in command. The ones that are available and the ones that have been activated, I mean, you sort of feel like the activated ones are in play. Right, there's none of the activated ones go a misfortune event. However, the ones that are available, well, that's 1944, suicide, so that one wouldn't apply right enough. 1944, wounded and air attack. 1941, so I've got a 1941 in there as well. I would think these are classed as in play, but it doesn't really. Hang on, let's see. Misfortune example. Rommel is eligible for misfortune recurring event in the years 1944 and 1945. Recognised eligible. No, it doesn't give you any more than that. If there are no eligible generals in play, this is the bit that I'm just not 100% sure about. Are all my generals in play? I mean, I would think the ones in, like I say, that are AG heads are clearly in play, but the ones that have been leading generals have been activated. Not that there's any of them with misfortune. I mean, are these still to be looked at? And these are a big pile of availables, which I suppose you would think are in play as well. It could be pretty bad, this. And I think I randomise between them all then, do I? If there's more than one, select one at random. Well, rather than go and look for it, why don't we roll the dice first? So I'm rolling a grey dice, and I don't want a hat. And the last 3 times I think I've rolled looking for a hat, I've not got one, so you know what's going to happen here. So just to be sure, yeah, it's a grey dice. Right, so we don't want a hat, and we don't get a hat. Good. Right, well, if I don't get that coming up again, if somebody wants to comment there and say that all these generals are affected by a misfortune, all would be checked, or if there's some section of them that don't, like for instance, maybe these don't. I mean, it just says in play, but it doesn't really make it that clear. My guess is that I think they're all involved in this. But anyway, so we've done the strategic warfare bit, which was good. We've increased the USA commitment track, and we've done the misfortune roll, which we got away with. So good. Strategic event. Now that just goes away. It doesn't recycle or anything like that. No, that's done. Now where were we getting that event from? Yes, the combat in here, or well, the lack of combat. And that's that one done. Good. Right, where am I at? The next. Right, let's just stick on the southern, because what I'm sort of worried about is I go for the western one here, and some event comes up that messes with us. I don't know if that's likely or not, but... Well, to be honest, yeah, I want to say we had a combat in the southern, and it was the Bismarck event we drew, and then it affected the western, and knocked the western down, so it could well be that. Right, let's go... Yeah, let's just go for Turkey this time. Nah. Let's go for Middle East. Because that's slightly weaker and we can maybe do with the extra white dice. So Middle East, we're going to draw a combat card. Attacking in 1941. That's another strategic event. So no attack, strategic event card though. That gets discarded. Here we go. Right, I've got another misfortune. Right, so another misfortune event. However, hold on. If the USSR is not at war, is that goes down the bottom or goes to the next year, I think. Ooh, resources value -1. Well, we don't want that. So if the USSR is not at war, I'm pretty sure that's a symbol that... Oh, did I not have it open at that bit? No, we moved it. Yeah, that's the one. If the condition is met... Oh, it's not. No, hang on. It is, Grant. If the USSR is not at war, that's correct. So if the condition is met, ignore the recurring and unique events. We ignore that, good. And we ignore that, good. Then add the card to the following year's event cards, strategic or combat. Oh, excellent. Right, so that goes back in the strategic events. I'll just need to remember that that one's going to be added. I should know. I'm putting it on the top of the first card in the deck. So, excellent. Right, and then that's that done. Well, this is going pretty well. It feels like that's pretty good up to now. Because that was another roll for the what was it? The misfortune thing. Right, let's do Turkey now. So, draw another combat card, 1941, name attacking, and here we go. Right, that's a bad one, isn't it? Oh dear. So it's 2 aircraft, so there's a good chance we're not going to be getting this extra white dice, and then 3 dice they're getting. So we are having a combat here. Now, so before they roll anything, is that right? We do our I don't know what it is. I'm not looking at I've not got the combat cards, that's what it is. So, yeah, before we do anything, we activate our generals, then we resolve the special effects. Is that right, then? Let me see that I like that bit in the rulebook, just to keep me right. Now it's a draw and reveal combat card, activate the generals. Allied combat rules 6.3. So it says... Yeah, you deal with the special effects first, and then you roll the actual dice for the combat. But that's after we assigning generals. Okay, so this could be nasty. Well, so we've got Kesselring to start with, and we're defending in rough, so that's good. So let's get Kesselring out just to remind us. Got Kesselring, we've got Reckenow. Where's he about? There he is, there. Is he helping? No, he's not helping because we need to be attacking. Right. And then we need a leading general. So we're being attacked in the rough with the Western faction. So let me have a look. Right, we've got nobody that can help. And here's the other thing, I've been chucking all these Soviet ones into this, and if we are going to start Barbarossa, this could be a bit of a disaster if I don't start Barbarossa and it like really doesn't. It really messes things up and spoils the game here, but I don't know. Yeah, I've got no leading general that's going to make any difference here. So yeah, I was starting to think just using maybe that guy again, or one of these. Maybe just use this guy. But yeah, I mean, by using all these guys, and we did start Barbarossa, then we're not going to have access to these. So that's giving me another reason to say maybe let's just see what happens, and we'll stretch it to next year. Right, okay, I'm going to use him as my leading general then. It had to be a 7 or a 6. Right, he's a 6. Right, okay. So that's the leading generals. He does nothing. He does nothing. He will give us a grey die instead of white for defending in the rough. Right, but now we need to do the roll 2 aircraft. It was 2 aircraft, wasn't it? So we're going to roll 2 dice. Any aircraft result's going to knock that. And it'll just knock it by 1. I'm just going to confirm that. But so 2 blue dice. We don't want to see an aircraft symbol. And we don't get one. How about that? Excellent. Right, I don't think that means nothing. The roll indicate number of Western dice. If at least 1 aircraft is rolled. Yeah, so if there's no aircraft rolled, there is no effect. Oh no, right. I need an aircraft result anyway, so it's not got that. So then, into the combat itself, they were getting 3 dice. So 1, 2, 3. So we'll roll them first. Now we're not getting to change any of these. No. So let's roll there first. Right. So an aircraft, a tank, and an event. Okay. Well, that's only 1 hat. Aircraft, the tank, and the event is only going to be 1 hat. We're guaranteed 2, so we're fine here. I'm just trying to see. Some of these might say may, but well, I think rolling a grey dice is better than a white dice regarding events side of things. Oh, maybe it's not. It's maybe the same because we don't really need the. But this doesn't say it's optional. It just says if this markers in the OB sud box, roll 1 additional grey die instead of 1 white die for the rough terrain. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so our die roll is going to be 2 black and a white. Well, actually, we're getting our white. Oh shit! Oh, it's still recording. Okay. Right, I'm going to have to cut that bit out. Hopefully. I managed to put things back together. Well, you're not going to see this. I'm going to cut out. Well, I suppose I could carry on from there and just cut the bit out where I knocked the camera, the tripod down, the camera came off, it all came apart. And it surprisingly went back together again. I've managed to. Right, okay. Hopefully I'll be able to cut that bit out and sort it out. Right, so I'm rolling 2 black dice, 1 white dice. yeah, 1 white dice. Yeah, what I was going to say there is, are any of these optional? I think we looked at this before, and it's modified by, right, let me see in the rulebook. Access combat roll. Yeah, if the air naval control value in the front for the combat is 5, add 1 white combat die. Do not add this die if the current season is winter. That's easy to miss that one, isn't it? In fact, you know what? We were in winter just before. Although I'm not sure we had this up at 5 at any point. Or did we? You know what? I might have triggered that. I think that's an easy one to miss. That doesn't apply in winter. If the axis of defender in combat sector is rough, add 1 white combat die. It doesn't say any of these are optional. And why I'm asking that is because I've got this combat finished, but I mean, I'm not sure I want to roll events, you know? So, but if I'm getting that wrong, let me know. If it is an optional thing, and I don't need to roll these if I don't want to. But I can't really see anything clear there that says that these are optional. That's not to say it's not there, but anyway. So 2 black, 1 white for that, 1 white for this, and then would be 1 white for defending and rough, but because of Kessel Ring that turns into a grey. So we've got 5 dice. Yeah, that's fine. The stacking limits doesn't matter. We're defending here. Right, I'll also cut there as well. Okay. Right, let's roll this. And see what happens. Yeah, you see, I wouldn't have rolled that probably if I thought there was a chance of an event, but anyway, there's 1, 2, 3, 4 hits there and another event. So we are going to get 2 events, but anyway. Okay, there's the results. So I think we deal with events first, don't we, Grant? Combat event resolution, and then we resolve the... Yeah. I'm always wondering... I've been here that many times, so I mean, it's straightforward, isn't it? Where's the combat bit? No. Event resolution, and then implementation of combat results. Yeah. Okay, so we've got 2 combat events. So I'm going to do the one for the allies first, just in case it matters. So combat event for the allies is Russo-Japanese Non-Aggression Pact. If the USSR is not at war, then this is going in the next year's cards, which that is the case. If the combat is with a Western faction, this would go down the bottom. However, this one applies first. Plus 1 hit to the Allied combat roll for every... Yeah, so this is against the Soviets anyway, so that's why it's saying if it's with a Western, it goes down the bottom. But the USSR is not at war, so this goes into next year's selection. That's right, isn't it? Yeah, and maybe ignore it. So that's a combat event this time. So that goes in the pile of combat event cards coming in next year. Right, so that was a drawn one for that. Oops. So now we're going to draw another one for us, that white dice. So what we got, bad weather. -1 hit from the Axis combat roll. Ooh, see, now that would have had an effect here. Air naval control value in the combat area's front, -1. That's nasty. So we lose a hit, and we lose our air naval control by 1. Obviously that doesn't, and then that card's just discarded this time. So that's that dealt with, and what I'll do is I'll take the hit away, and then we'll affect the front. Take that down by -1. Right, and then we can resolve the combat. We're the defender. We've got more hits than them, so there's no retreat. Sorry. This applies first, Grant. So that's going to apply next, which is going to subtract 1 from their naval control value. Now, yeah, I think it should be another subtraction here. I know it's if there was more than one of these aircrafts here, we would only reduce this by 1 and then apply the other as a hit. But that was an event that knocked it down first, so I'm going to say that that's okay to knock that down a second time. Let me know if that's wrong, and that should count as a hit. I don't think so, though. I think they're different things, so I'm going to go with that. I mean, if it did count as a hit, it'd actually be better for us, because then that wouldn't be down to 3 and it would be at 4, and we would still win the combat anyway. But I think I'm going to take it that way, which is the worst for us as well. And then the combat is we're better than them, so nothing happens. Combat's over, this card goes away, and the generals all go back. Kesselring and Von Reichenau go back in command, and this guy goes away, activated. And that is that. Done. Right, I forgot I had 30 odd minutes in the video at first, didn't I? 37 I think, so there's another 38 that I've just done. I might need to cut a minute or so out of that in the middle there. Oh no, we're not finished. We've got one more, Grant. Well, let's do it. Right, this is in the Western this time. So, yeah, this is the last one. So, combat card. Allies attacking in 1941. Oh, it's another bad one. So, 2 aircraft and 3 dice. Okay. So now we've got to get our generals right with no OB this time. So we've got Strauss as our AG head. And he's only good on attacking, so he's not going to do anything. Well, I'm pretty sure we're not going to get anything here. So we're looking for somebody that defends. Against the Western faction. Oh, can we use Rommel? No, that's in Spain. Yeah. You can only use Libya, Egypt, Northern Africa, Middle East. But we never had that combat in Middle East. What are we defending in? Planes. Oh dear. I'm not liking this one. So defending planes, because that was defending a river, would have helped us. No, that's attacking. How did I miss him? Oh, he's a 5. I can't use 5s. That was modal. And I thought, how did I miss him? But he's a 5. I can only use a 7 or a 6. Which at least he would have done something. Yeah, we want to get down to these 5s. So we kind of want to get rid of these 7s. I've got 2 7s. See, that's maybe what I should have been doing. Getting them out. Getting them activated so I got access to the 5s. Well, I've got nobody. Well, I need to use somebody. Right, well, we've decided we're not going to go after the Barbarossa. I think. So I'm just going to use another guy that's not going to be any use to us. I'm going to use this guy. Okay, so none of our generals are any good. That's not good. Right, this could be something. This time, I think this could be a right challenge this time. Right, so 3. Oh no, hang on. There's 2 aircraft first. 1941. So 2 aircraft first to see. Oh, I'll tell you what. We don't want this. Oh no, because our Western front air naval controls at 2. So if we get an aircraft result, it's going to knock it to 1. They're going to get an extra dice in the combat. Oh no. That's bad. Right, so we really don't want an aircraft here. Oh, we get lucky. So nothing happens. That was right, innit? Just nothing happens. It needs to be an aircraft. Yeah, and that's what I was saying. If that had been, you can see that the air naval controls at 2. If we had got 1 there, it would have knocked it to 1, and then they would got an extra dice in this combat. So, however, they're not. So now we're into combat. They're getting 3 dice. Let's just roll them and see what they get. This is in the attack back, counter-attack in Spain, so... Oh my gosh, that's horrible. That's horrible. Because it's in planes. Oh dear. Oh dear. That's 5 hits, isn't it? Because the tanks count as 2 in planes. That's 5 hits. This is horrendous. And the combat is in Madrid, which is planes. There's nothing I can do. Right, so I've got to hope for 3 tanks here. I'm only getting the 3 dice, haven't I? Oh, we've got a Boer. Any subsequent Axis combat die roll, then roll 1 grey dice. Right, we might be needing this. Depends if we... well, roll the dice first, Grant. So we're getting 1 black and 2 grey. And we're not... oh, what about... can we use paratroopers when we're defending? It doesn't say otherwise. If we equal the hits, it's going to be either a reduction or a retreat. Which is... yeah, not the worst. If we retreat though, they flip the AG head to questioned. So you don't really want that. But I could use my paratroops here. Not in winter. Plus 1 grey die in the combat, then roll 1d6. Now let's just double check that it doesn't... you know... I sort of felt like it maybe had to be when you were just attacking, but I mean... I don't know, maybe that's not the case. It is. Doesn't say that on here, on the cards. In the Axis combat roll in 6.4 on page 27, it states, if the Axis is the attacker and the current season is not winter. It doesn't say that here on the card. On the, I'm using these Secrets of Play cards. It just says not in winter. So, yeah, it sort of makes some sense. It felt like it should have been just on attack. Right, so we can't use that. So we're getting 1 black and 2 grey dice. And we really want 3 tank results here. 3 tank results would be amazing. If we're not getting anything else. No, our generals are doing nothing. We've got Abwehr if we need to use that. We're not defending on RAF. Air naval control's not at 5. Yeah, okay, here we go. Right, 3 tanks. Come on. Oh man, not even 1 tank. Okay, well now we've got something to think about. If you use the Abwehr card, that's going to be 5 hits to 4. If we don't, it's 5 hits to 3. So, Axis Defender. If the Allied hits are greater than the Axis hits, apply 1 reduction or 1 retreat for every hit in the difference. If plus 1 retreat or 2 reductions, flip the activated head of AG. If more than 1 retreat or 2 reductions applied, flip the head of OB. I've not got an OB. So does the leading general not get questioned in any of these then? No, it seems not. Unless it's a Festung sector, it says. Oh no, sorry. If 1 retreat or 2 reductions applied, flip activated head of G and leading general to questioned. Okay. I sort of feel like we need to play our card here, and keep it 5 to 4. that would be one reduction or one retreat for every hit, and there's only one hit in the difference. And I don't want to retreat, I just want to take the reduction, I think. Yeah, okay. I'm going to use my card to give myself another hit. And then I'm going to roll a grey dice, and if it's a hit, this goes into the next year's combat events. If it's not a hit, then it gets discarded and it's done. So let's deal with that first. So a grey dice, looking for a hit this time again, which I seem to be struggling to get. Yes, we get it this time. Good. Right, so this card will get put into next year's combat events, so we'll get the chance of that again next year. So that's good. Right, so we've got a deficit of 1 hit, haven't we? We've got 5. They've got 5, and we've got 4. Let's just confirm that the tanks. Yeah, the sector's terrain is plain, so it's 2 hits and 1 hit for that. Yeah, all we needed was 1 tank. Well, I mean, 2 tanks and then being able to use the card would have been great, but however, there was a lot to up against. So we've got 1 hit, 5 to 4. We've got 1 hit to take, so I'm going to take it as a reduction, and that way, nobody's going to get questioned. So the reduction's got to be the Panzer army being reduced to a regular army. And that means we get to stay put, and hopefully we can take Valencia next turn. It's in rough as well. Right, well, okay. That's the combat done. I can put the dice away. Can put this combat card away. That was a horrible 2 combat cards in the trot there, wasn't it? And that one, well, with a terrible dice roll for us. Right, Strauss goes back to in command, and this other guy just goes into activated. Right, not a very good finish to the Western offensive there. So moving on to the Soviet offensive, well, there's nothing to do there. So I'll go to military directives objective check, and I'll just stop things there. And get this. Well, actually, I'm just going to come straight back. Actually, I think. So I'll cut things there. I'll be back with the next part shortly. Okay, cheers.